Guys, we have an urgent breaking news coming out. President Donald Trump proposing 50-year mortgages sparks backlash. Give me a second here, guys. Let's see what's going on with this news. Do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I really appreciate that support. Thank you so much. So it says here, US President Donald Trump proposal to introduce 50-year mortgage terms for home buyers has sparked a backlash from online commentators. Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pult said on Saturday that the Trump administration is working on a plan to introduce the measure. Writing on X, people criticized the idea, which they said could increase debt levels. All right. So here's the thing, guys. And I just purchased my first home almost 2 years ago at the age of 39. Instead of pushing this for 50 years, we need to get rid of the tax property. That's one thing that needs to be removed. I mean, it will give Americans some room to breathe. Number two, here's the thing. The reason why people are buying homes like in the age of near 40 is because the school system. If only the school teaches us at a high school or middle school how to build credit, how to save money, and how to prepare to buy your first home. If only the school teach that to us instead of teaching us Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers and baloney stuff, many Americans will be purchasing home in the age of 25 instead of 40. All right, so it starts in the school. The school system needs to be changed. We need to be taught all these at a younger age. All right. So again, we're gonna see what's going on with all this here, guys. Once again, 50-year mortgage. That's a long run. All right, guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters, a prayer request, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. It says here, home ownership has emerged as a key issue in the U.S., with many people struggling to get on the housing ladder. The average age of first-time homebuyers had reached an all-time high of 40. And it's very true. I got my first home almost at the age of 40. I should have done this years ago. But again, like I said, the school system didn't teach about credit. They don't teach about none of this type of stuff. If you go to a private school, like the millionaires and stuff like that, they teach the kids about the Constitution. They teach them about credit score. They teach them about business. They teach them about all the things that can make, how to make money. But when it comes to the poor, these public schools, they don't teach none of that. They don't. You again ask one of these teenagers, what's the First Amendment? What's the Second Amendment? They have no idea. It's because they're not being taught the right stuff. I had to learn the hard way. Learn the hard way. It says here, once again, an all-time high of 40, according to a recent report by the National Association of Realtors. And the U.S. housing market has slowed this year due to sky-high home prices, elevated borrowing costs, and other factors. Now, parents, if you know a lot about credit and stuff like that, sit down with your kids and teach them at a younger age. My wife does it. She homeschooled and she's teaching our kids about credit score, again about saving money, credit card interest rates, and again our young ones like 12 and 10, and they're being taught all this, so that way when they get into work and stuff like that, saving is very important. Having good credit score is very important. So you have Polt X post came after President Donald Trump posted an image on his social media platform, Truth Social, in which he placed an image of himself next to one of former President Franklin D. Roosevelt. I missed that one. I didn't see that picture. Who established the 30-year mortgage standards. He wrote 30-year mortgage above Roosevelt's image and 50-year mortgage above his. In a separate post, Polt wrote, President Donald Trump proposes 50-year mortgage to help affordability. Here's the thing, guys. I don't think 50 years would be good, to be honest. I think 30 years would be awesome. A lot of people would like to pay their debt as soon as possible and just get out of it. But 50 years is it just kind of a. Like I said, what needs to happen is property taxes. Get rid of that stuff, man. We shouldn't be paying property taxes. I mean, property taxes. A lot of people is paying almost $1,000 a month on property tax. Get rid of that, and that would actually help out a lot. I mean, it just. A longer fixed rate mortgage will lower monthly payments, but would create a higher total cost because of interest. There you go. So, writing on X, some figures raised issues with the proposal. Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene wrote, in part, I don't like 50-year mortgages as the solution to the housing affordability crisis. It will ultimately reward the banks, mortgage lenders, and home builders while people pay for more in interest over time and die before they even ever pay off their home. In debt forever, in debt for life. That's what I'm saying. Yep, I agree. Hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I agree. You're paying more. You're giving more to the bank, basically. You're giving more to the bank. I mean, like I said, I mean, there should be some kind of tax break. There should be lower interest rate. I mean, they really trying to get us working 24/7, man, around the clock. Maggie Anders, who works for the conservative libertarian think tank, the Foundation for Economic Education, said young Americans don't want to be debt slaves for the rest of their lives. We want cheaper houses. I agree, which can only be accomplished by increasing the supply through deregulation. Deregulation, excuse me. Well, again, like I said, you need to get rid of the property tax. And then if you want your monthly payment to be low, you have to save a good amount of down payment. Now they have the first time home buyer stuff, 5%. But again, the more money you put down, the better. You know, this is why saving is very important. This is why, I see a lot of people buying Jordans and iPhones, and look at me, I got a Tesla. They're putting themselves in a massive, crazy debt, and then going to college and stuff, and putting themselves in more debt. So here's another thing. If you want to get a house, you got to make sure you don't owe the IRS money. You got to make sure that you don't have a massive debt like school loan debt. I mean, you got to make sure that your credit card is up to date. It's not easy to get a home. Again, if you want to get that beautiful Tesla, again, it's going to be hard to actually purchase a house. You don't want to have a big, massive debt. I mean, you could have a Tesla. Just make sure you pay that on time. Because the bank is going to see, well, you guys a big purchase here. You're making payments. Give me a second here, guys. Again, when I purchased my home, I had when I purchased my home, I had a Kia, and I was making payments on that. Didn't miss a payment. I haven't missed a payment on none of the cars, and the banks saw that and said, "Hey, we are willing to work with you. Do you own any school loans and stuff like that?" Nah, I don't go to school. I don't go no college and stuff like that. But yeah, you got to make sure you don't owe the IRS. If you owe the IRS $5,000, the bank is gonna deny you. You got to make sure you do your research. I did my research, and it took me a while to learn all this. I even had I had this creditor guy help me too, how to build my credit and stuff. A 50-year mortgage isn't worth it and won't add much benefit since your mortgage interest is front-loaded. Homeowners will have very little, if any, equity by the time they sell. Homeowners keep their home an average of 11.8 years. It sounds good on paper, but financially, it makes very little sense. Lucas, in Montana State Republican, wrote, the best way to help young homebuyers is to deport all the 30 million illegals. 30 million, good gosh, from this country that will free up a lot of housing. Woo. All right, so Matt Walsh, a conservative commentator, wrote, this just means your house will be owned by the bank until you pass. And after, we don't need 50-year mortgages. Get the illegal out of our country. Give America back to Americans. Wow. However, others said it was a good idea. John, an investor with over 72,000 followers, wrote, the 30-year mortgage is one of the best financial products available to Americans. 50 years is even better. Crypto Wendy, a cryptocurrency analyst with over 458,000 followers, wrote, I don't think a 50-year mortgage is bad. It gives everyone more flexibility financially. You can pay a mortgage off early. Not sure how else the lower home cost in 2025. So the Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill wrote on X Saturday, thanks to President Donald Trump, we are indeed working on a 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer. Housing Wire lead analyst Logan wrote, I understand that we have housing affordability challenges in America, but subsidizing more demand from 30 to 50-year mortgages is not the policy we want to take now. Housing has to balance itself out through slowing home price growth and wages increasing, as it has for many decades. To add another subsidization to the market just prevents that healing process from occurring, which also prevents less equity build out as well. So I am not a fan of any increasing in the amortization. The 30-year fixed is perfectly fine as is. I agree. I think the 30-year fix is good. So what happens next? Polt said that the administration was working on a plan, but further details about what that will entail and when it will be implemented remain to be seen. All right, so what are your thoughts? Leave comments down below. I will leave that link in the description box. But again, guys, it starts at home. You have to teach your young ones about credit score, about saving, about all these, when it comes to purchasing a home. Purchasing a home is a big, decision. It's one of the biggest decisions. Marriage is one of the biggest decisions. I mean, again, these are very important things that you need to sit down with your children at a younger age, because the school is not going to teach them. They're teaching them Santa Claus and stuff like that. Santa Claus is not going to buy a house or bring a house to you. Again, these rich, they're young ones. They go to private school. They teach them all this stuff at a younger age. And that's why, they buy property. They own businesses. They were taught. Wake up. Parents, it's your job to teach your young ones about saving. Stop buying these sneakers, Jordans, and stuff like that. Stop spending all your money on that. At the very end, a lot of people's going to regret it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Till next time later. Peace.